toy.
We're wanted men.
I have spoken.
Welcome to take 2 of the Smugglers Galaxy Podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. We are on episode 220. Jason was having internet problems, so we decided to stop and let him fix it. And now we're back again for take 2. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody that celebrates. Jason, how's your week been? Amazon's had some pretty good Black Friday deals. You get anything awesome?
It's almost like you know the answer to that question when you asked it. That's weird.
Isn't it though? It's like we've been here before.
Yeah, the blue snaggletooth from bust from Gentle Giant was on sale for like $19 with a 10% off coupon, and my wife was in class, so she couldn't get to Amazon. So I told her I accidentally hit buy it now, and she can just give it to me for my birthday or for Christmas. Sorry.
Christmas, yes. Cool.
So yes,
Yeah,
that was pretty amazing deal. I mean, those things
Yeah,
normally sell for $70.
yeah, because they had the Carson Teva for like $23 right now. There's some pretty killer deals on bust. Yeah, Count Dooku's 33. The cheapest one I ever got was Think Geek had Jen Urso for like $13. So I could not let her sit there for $13.
That Carson Teva is the only way to get that character. And there might be a hot toy, but he hasn't been made into a Black Series figure, a vintage collection figure. Micro Galaxy at one point teased that he's coming, but he hasn't arrived in that line yet. So the only way to get that character, who has been the glue in the Mandalorian universe, combining or merging or being the constant in all these shows, he hasn't been an action figure yet.
Right, and that would be like the one smart repack for them, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if they needed to add, I guess they could add some weight to one of the figures and just put his head on there and he'd be good to go. I mean, well, they didn't even do that for Thrawn, which my Thrawn and my Ahsoka got canceled or something from Amazon where it yet again just sat there. They got lost in the mail, so I went ahead and canceled them and thought I could redo them. But yeah, with the Thrawn, all they did was reuse the body. They didn't do the dad bod Thrawn with the Ahsoka Thrawn.
Right.
But anywho, oh well. No, it just that figure should have been made a long time ago, and it's a fan favorite, and I don't understand why they hadn't made that character yet. But no, I picked up the talkback chopper that they had when Ahsoka came out. That was like originally $70. It's apparently you can talk to it and it talks back. But it got knocked down to like $35. And it just slowly kept going down and going down. And I picked that up. It should be here Wednesday because I've learned on Amazon, if you can wait, and if you have a certain credit card and you can wait for the stuff to be delivered, it gives you rebates. And so I just learned to wait for my stuff to be delivered unless I really, really need it. I was a little upset because the Sabine helmet went from like $100 down to like $70. And I paid $120 for mine, just so I can have it in hand. But I guess you win some and lose some.
Yep. The life of a collector.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty much it that I've picked. I hadn't even had it yet, and then we've been picking up some. Is it what are we? Dirty Bantha is what we're doing for the holiday
Something
social?
like that. Yeah. Where you pick a gift and then someone could steal it or pick another gift, and you got 2 steals and the thing is locked.
Yeah, we picked up some stuff off Amazon for that, and because you could get good value, so you could buy something that's worth $50 for $30. So We got
Right.
a couple of oddball stuff, so hopefully people will fight over it because the odder the stuff, the more people fight over it.
Yeah. I did stop at Walmart this week and I did find I just said this joke, so it feels so it doesn't feel organic, but it does sound like I'm in the middle of a stroke when I say Jude Law's character from Skeleton Crew, John Arnott.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So I picked up that figure. The good thing was it was minty and it was only $14. It wasn't the normal $17 for vintage collection, so that felt good to save
Yeah.
$3.
Sweet. Yeah, I haven't I don't know. There's no figures that no figures that I feel like I have to have. I'm waiting. I don't know. It was cool. It would have been cool to have another Thrawn from Ahsoka, but it's like, do I really need another Thrawn? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
you do.
Um, so I'll probably pick him up when I find him. I think I just got to the point where I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait to find him in a store. Because and then the Ahsoka the White, because it was the Ahsoka the White and the Thrawn figure that got canceled on Amazon or they got lost or whatever. Um, so I guess we'll wait. I have had, I think, a little bit of a change of heart after seeing all the unboxing, after watching the unboxing of the Ghost about my figures. I may keep them in on card. I don't know
Oh.
because they just look so good. Um, and I was real impressed watching that unboxing. It's like they've learned. I don't because I didn't get the Cantina, the Katana. Um, and I don't remember on the Razor Crest how good they boxed up those figures. But on this one, it feels like they took the time to make sure that those figures are going to get to you in mini shape. The way they boxed them up. So I was kind of
Yeah.
impressed. I actually not kind of impressed. I was real impressed with the care that it feels like Hasbro took on this project. Um, yeah, and I don't know how I'm gonna get through unboxing that thing. It's gonna be a very emotional moment for me.
One step at a time.
Yeah, it'll have to be. And I was watching it because our buddy, we have a friend that every time he sees where I'm going to put my Ghost, he's like, it's not big enough. It's not big enough. And I purposely watched it. I'm like, well, all the landing pads are in the middle. I'll be fine. It'll look huge, and that's what I want.
Let's hope.
I'm fingers crossed. If not, I'll be putting
Let's hope.
a piece of plexiglass or something on my top of my thing. But I want to be able to walk in that room and people go, oh my God. And that to be like a centerpiece of my collection.
The ghost is huge.
Yes, that's what she said.
You were just waiting for that. You've been waiting 5 minutes because my computer stinks and I have to restart it, and the gremlins are out in full force this morning.
Maybe you should ask for a new computer versus more Star Wars stuff for Christmas.
Shut your mouth.
I also when I was downstairs um just kind of going through stuff, it always gets dangerous when you're playing in your collection room and you're looking around and you're like, what could I change? I realize I have a corner that I could put another shelf in. So I ordered another shelf.
Oh, there you go.
And as soon as I order the shelf, Mandy's like, I need more room. I'm like, I didn't get it for you. But I think I'm going to take some of her mint on card stuff and bring it downstairs once I get things situated. I'm like, it's supposed to be in tomorrow. I ordered it from IKEA. Um, and I joined their friends and family. So
Mhm.
for like $5, they shipped this thing to me. And I'm like, it's worth it. So I don't have to go down to IKEA and deal with IKEA.
Yeah, I ordered something on Amazon because they have IKEA lights, but I didn't want to go all the way down to IKEA like you're saying.
Yeah.
And I put these lights in a bookcase, but they're like cool blue lights. They're not warm lights like IKEA lights. And so it's like
Oh,
I probably should have just went down to IKEA and not worried about it.
yeah. And there's been several times where I've been close enough to IKEA that I could have gone by there, but it's like I'm already running late to get home and I didn't want to spend the half an hour or 45 minutes in IKEA. So I'm just I'll just go and deal with it. It'll be here tomorrow. FedEx. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they don't damage it shipping it. And I'll put it in a corner. And if anybody wants a R2D2 cutout from Nissan, like in 2017, let me know because I got to find room for it. I don't know what all I'm gonna do. So hopefully it'll help me and my wife out. We'll get a little bit more room. I can clear some stuff out, but I wasn't planning on putting her stuff down there, and now I am. So yay,
Yeah, you.
yay me. Anywho, that's how my week's gone.
Yeah, and I saw Gladiator too, but
Yes.
I went into this whole thing last time we recorded, and I don't really feel like repeating it. If you like the first one, you like the second one. Doesn't have the emotional punch, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Awesome.
I have news. I'm pulling it up. I had to restart my computer, and it's just been a cluster this morning. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to preserve the energy so the audience doesn't feel the frustration. This should be a relaxing time for you. You're probably nervous. You're going to work, or not nervous, but anxious because nobody wants to go to work.
Right. Or
And
you're preparing your
turkey,
Thanksgiving meal.
your turkey. But first, I wanted to say congratulations to David Quinn. He reached 200 episodes on his podcast, Prototypes Production. Or as I said it, and Star Wars. I don't know why I messed up on his podcast, but I did. Um, I did call him this week, and I was joking around because 200 episodes is an hour each, and that's 2,000 hours. It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert, so he's got 8,000 hours to go.
Man, that means we have like 8,000 hours to go.
Yeah, 10,000 hours to become an expert in something.
Jeez. Anyway,
Um,
so you're still bringing up your news. I'm sorry, it's been disoriented today. It's not moving smoothly. Um,
hey, this is the chaos you thrive in, so I don't
yes, I
understand why
love
it's
it though.
messing
It's
you up.
great. Yeah. Well, we never have plans, or we have plans, and I make plans, and you like let's do a list of droids. I've had my list of droids for like 6 months, and we never used it yet.
Chaos.
Okay. Yeah. So
Hasbro.
I don't know.
Hasbro, all right. Hasbro had a couple announcements this week. First was the Balin Skull Force FX Elite lightsaber for 250 bucks. Not a lightsaber collector myself, but I know they're out there, so I wanted to include that.
Yeah. Lightsabers, you gotta, I don't know. I want the Rebels lightsabers, but I just at $200 a pop, it's just hard to make myself do that, especially when I got a room full of crap.
And then they announced IG-12 with Grogu and Zalian, which is the oh baby, the little guys that work on droids in The Mandalorian.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Yes.
come yes, that guy. It's coming to
Yes.
yeah, that figure. It's coming to the vintage collection. It's going to be 24.99, which made me raise my eyebrow because they're making it a deluxe figure.
Uh-huh.
The vintage collection version is 24.99, like I just said. The black series of the exact same figure, which is on store shelves now, just hanging out, is 33.99. It's $9 more. So the perceived value is that I'm getting ripped off with the vintage collection.
Yes. 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 So, and that's the figure, is that the Black Series figure is the one with Baby Yoda that you can put Baby Yoda in it.
Yes. And it's both because they use the same 3D model for both figures.
And it's how much again?
The vintage collection's 25 and the Black Series 34. I just rounded up a penny.
Right. That is ridiculous. And with that Black Series sitting there, they're going to mark it down here soon.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
TVC, it's getting, and you wonder why people aren't collecting Star Wars figures. That should have not been a deluxe just because it's got 2 extra pieces to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's self-inflicted because how many Mandalorians and clones do we need?
Yeah. No,
And
go
you
ahead.
could just sense the greediness because if they make a figure, they're just standing there behind the tree, rubbing their hands together. How can we repack and repaint this and not have to make new tooling and new figures?
Yeah, no, I agree with the figure. I think it's a cool figure. It's just like the chopper that they repackaged. It's a smart repack. It's a cool thing, a cool story point in the movie crap in Mandalorian. So I think people are gonna, well, no, the Black Series is just sitting on the shelf, right?
Yeah,
Nobody's really jumping on it.
no. Star Wars is
Um,
very stale right now. It's just sitting on store shelves.
Yeah, I can feel that because I'll go to Target to look, I've got 5 minutes, I'll run in the toy section and I have to hunt. I used to not have to hunt the Star Wars section, but now I have to hunt the Star Wars section just to find it because it's gone down from, 3 or 4 peg or, 5 or 6 pegs wide or 10 pegs wide down to like two,
Yeah.
and you can't find it. It's hard to find.
The thing they should have done, so this week was the furthest from, or is it in a couple weeks? I can't remember. But Steve Evans is going to a convention and he teased the new retro collection reveal. If this is like a Cantina related box set with the 4 original figures and 2 new ones or something,
Hmm.
that's something they should have announced in May to get the Kenner collectors excited. So when they rolled around in, was it June or July with the Cantina, you've got 2 sets of collectors there bought in essentially for the idea of this Cantina. If you're a Kenner collector, you could have bought it and put your Kenner figures there. And if you're a vintage collection, I mean, you've got those figures already there. So it's a bit frustrating, and it's just like I said, self-inflicted. I don't know if Hasbro really knows what they're doing. It seems like they're just panicking and throwing stuff against the wall. Make a Mando, make a clone. That's what we got.
Yeah. No, no, I agree. I think if they would have, it feels like with Hasbro Pulse stuff that they're missing the mark. Especially if they would just maybe take a step back and say, hey, like you were just saying, let's make a vintage collection, or let's support it. I think if they were supporting it from the front end before they did it, it would have made more sense instead of
Yeah,
supporting it on the back end. It's just like the Ghost. The only way to get the right figures to go in the Ghost was to buy the Ghost.
yeah,
And then, I don't know where, if it caught, I don't know where I said it, because this is our second or third go on this podcast, on this episode. Um, but I was kind of having a change of heart opening my figures because on the unboxing video, they just look so good on those cards. Um, so it's like I want to have figures to go in my Ghost, but I don't want an Ahsoka era Hera and Rebels Sabine, and you know what I mean? I don't want to mix the eras. I want the eras to be right. So it's like, why aren't you releasing? If they were smart, they could release these figures and not kill the secondary market, but the figure on the Ghost figures maybe wouldn't be as worth as much. I don't know. Um, but when you're paying, because I paid $60 for Chopper and Hair and Sabine to go with my Ghost
yeah.
for 2 figures. So you're at $30 a figure just because it's the only way to get them. And I don't know. I don't know what the
I'm
right answer is. Go, Jason, go.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous myself because, Steve Evans is shepherding the entire Star Wars line right now at Hasbro. And his influence won't be felt until late 2025, early 2026. Is that too late? Because there's a lot of collectors who are no longer collecting, or they're just picking figures here and there, and they're not supporting the full line, which is fine. That's their choice. But is that too little, too late? Will the Mandalorian movie save the franchise? Because a lot of people are turned off by Star Wars right now. Will Skeleton Crew? Skeleton Crew needs to hit. Uh, Andor needs to hit, and then right after that will be the teaser trailer for, I'm sure, the Mandalorian in the April timeframe, around the time that Andor premieres. So, is that enough to start getting the fandom hungry again?
I hope so. I mean, that Skeleton Crew has got to hit. And I'm hoping it does. It looks promising, but I hope they did it right, and I hope people aren't jerks about that uh that series because, oh, it's for kids. Well, guess what?
Yeah,
Star Wars is for kids.
we'll get into Skeleton Crew in just a minute because I do have some light news about that,
Um, yeah, no,
um,
I so we
but
were in
there's
25. Go no, I'm thinking so May 26th is when is Grogu coming out?
Mandalorian and Grogu comes out May 2026, and that hype machine should start April-ish. I mean, that's when we'll get a teaser trailer, and then next Christmas we'll probably get a full trailer. They'll probably do another Thursday night football trailer like they normally do to try to get the widest audience. And then they'll have something, I don't know, February, March to kind of get people more excited. And hopefully the Disney marketing machine will be in full swing and they'll try to really steer people towards that movie because Star Wars needs a hit. It really
It
does.
does. And I don't know, to me, I'm like, it feels like that's a long time between Andor and Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right.
But it may be we may need that. I mean, it's a two-sided sword. Are you gonna, because when they tried putting them together too fast, it failed. So if you
Yeah.
give it breathing room, will it work, or is it one where we should have something between Andor and Mandalorian and Grogu? I mean, I know they said Visions 3 was getting ready to, they're doing a Visions 3. Is it something where they can throw something in that, do something fast they could throw in that time frame to kind of keep the momentum going? Because I think with Disney Plus, it's a whole new ball game as far as content goes.
I think people have soured with Disney Plus because it's either a hit or it's a bomb. There
Yeah.
seems to be nothing in between. It's something that people that really resonates, like the first two seasons in The Mandalorian and Andor. Those have been really well received by fandom. Or you've got your Book of Boba Fett's and Acolyte, which have been kind of rejected by fandom.
Well, I think there again with the Book of Boba Fett, we were expecting Boba Fett to be a badass, and we got old Boba Fett. We got, oh, I hurt my knee. Let me get in the back to tank, back to tank, and then Dream,
I'm still,
where, huh?
no, finish your thought.
Where I think we all wanted. Let's see what happens between, we saw what happened after the Sarlacc pit, which was great to finally see that. But we wanted to see like the stuff that happened between him, you know, Empire and Return, that kind of stuff. How did he get where he was going? How did he become Boba Fett?
Yeah.
We wanted to see dirty Star Wars. And I think we're finally getting that maybe with the Skeleton Crew, but hopefully it's not too little too late.
And I'm frustrated with Lucasfilm. So they made Book of Boba Fett season one, and it wasn't well received. And instead of listening to the audience and trying to reconfigure their show, they just abandoned it. It's just they've given up. That didn't work. Move on. It's
Right.
like you're
And
just,
and
and that
go
just
ahead.
adds to me feeling like they're just throwing crap against the wall to see what sticks because it's like, well, we've got it against the wall. Let's just reshape it and reform it and make it work.
Yeah,
Listen to the audience.
because it would be really simple, I think, to redo Book of Boba Fett. Not redo it, but if you wanted to say, "Oh, let me bring it back to the younger days of Boba Fett," it'd be real easy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they can even like the Boba Fett we saw in Mandalorian season two is that resonated. People love that scene, and
Right.
I think as far as I know, and they could bring it back in season two where Boba Fett is struggling because he wants to being an evolved, for lack of a better term, right now, individual. He wants to be a crime lord. He doesn't want the violence, but like Godfather Part Two, everybody keeps bringing him back to the violence, and in the end, he embraces that. And so we've got this character development where he pushed away from that, and now maybe he's even more dangerous because he's wiser and smarter, but just as violent as before. I don't know. It's something that Lucasfilm shouldn't have just abandoned and moved on.
Right. And I don't know. I think they just it comes down to numbers, and they see that the numbers didn't do good and it didn't make money, so let's just leave it alone. But I don't know. I also had a train of thought that I lost, but yeah, no, you're right. And then I think Acolyte just, I don't know how, I don't want to get political, but I just felt like it went into the director and they pushed it to make it political, and that ruined Acolyte because people were like, I don't want to listen to the political stuff, so I'm not going to I'm not going to watch the show.
Mhm.
Even though it
Yeah.
was a good show, and it does suck, and I get really upset with streaming services because you'll watch a show for 8 or 9 episodes and they leave you on a cliffhanger, and then you find out a month later they canceled the show, and it was a good show.
Yeah, Lucasfilm has been publishing on their YouTube channel these historical videos, and I'm sure it's some sort of public service, like everybody's on YouTube now, so let's do something worth educational, with or something with an educational bent, and they make these videos, but I'm like, why are you wasting your time on this stuff? You're Star Wars, and if you are going to do something like The Acolyte and you want to get political, start a new show about it or something. Don't necessarily interject it into Star Wars. Like, there's things you can do, and I don't know. That's why I think, Disney's got a leadership change coming up, so hopefully that means there'll be a leadership change at Lucasfilm, and maybe they can reconfigure and refocus on their storytelling.
Yeah, so yeah, if you want to, yeah, no, I agree with that. Keep it away from Star Wars. Let's start because people just want to, you just want to sit there and turn your mind off for an hour. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Just let me enjoy. I mean, I'll watch some stupid stuff, just because I can turn my brain off for an hour and a half.
And don't get me wrong, I understand the role that science fiction has played in history. It's a great way to talk about topics of the day in a way that's easy for people to understand or through metaphor. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just been the way science fiction has worked. And of course, right now my brain is kind of fried from trying to restart this episode 12 times, and I can't find an example. 1984 would be a good example. Um, Even Animal Farm, to an extent, was about the politics of the day. And Blade Runner, it's just, where am I going with this? I don't
No,
know.
I think I get where you're going. If you're gonna make a political, okay, now I see where you're going with this. If you're gonna do it, do it. Don't, okay, we're making an acolyte and we're gonna do, or and then I'm gonna I'm gonna hide, or quote unquote hide a political agenda in it. If you're gonna do it, do it. I
Yeah,
guess is what you're trying to say.
yeah, maybe don't make it so perfunctory, like, oh, let's just include this. It's like, make that the plot.
Yeah.
Make it so that if you are going to do a same-sex story about two people falling in love, well, make it about the time where, in the Star Wars universe that wasn't allowed or something like that. Like, just go all in. Don't make it
Right.
perfunctory. I
Yeah.
do understand.
No.
I do
Yeah.
understand representation matters.
Right.
But I don't know. Uh, Star Wars is in a funk right now, and I'm just hoping that Lucasfilm can shepherd it out of that funk and get it into a good place where we can get good figures. In conclusion, that's where I'm going with that.
Exactly. That's how I feel. No, but yeah, if you and yeah, you're right. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but don't hide it. Do it. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with it. Just don't hide it. And it just, I don't. If you want to make a gay Star Wars, make a gay Star Wars. Don't hide behind it. Don't. I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't have a problem with it, but just don't hide it, man. Don't. And that's what I think happened with the Acolyte.
yeah. The Acolyte had more problems, pacing problems, plot problems, focus problems. I guess most of the show was reshot at one point, or maybe the second half of the show was reshot, which might result in the pacing problems
Mhm.
and the plot problems. And who's the main character? Is it Soul? Is it Osha? Is it May? Who am I supposed to be feeling for here?
Mhm.
Because I don't feel like they did a good job sympathizing any of the characters except for Soul. But even Soul, the thing he did so horribly wasn't so horrible. Like, I don't. I felt like someone needed to take a step back, take a breather, and then refocus instead of just panicking, or maybe they just need to keep throwing Tony Gilroy at every Star Wars problem so he can fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Acolyte, uh,
Yes, Acolyte.
a Kelnaka body leaked on the web this week for the vintage collection. So we are getting more of that. I like the design of that character. I thought he looked like a cool samurai, especially with the shaved head on the side and the hair,
Uh-huh.
the mohawk in the middle. So I'm excited about that. And
Which
again,
which character was that one?
that's the Wookiee.
Oh, okay.
That's the Wookiee. You just announced that Lucasfilm has Visions Volume 3 coming.
Yes. Sorry if I ruined your.
No, no, I'm just curious because I'm like, it comes and goes. I don't see anybody online gushing about this show. They might say someone might post something and they'll be like, episode 4 was my favorite," and that's the extent of it. I hardly remember any of the show itself, or there's no standout animation in my mind.
Right. No,
It's-
I would like to see a more cohesive story from Visions instead of doing maybe let people do 3 or 4 episodes and let them have a good arc versus a 20-minute episode.
I'll tell you another problem I have with Visions, and again, I'm so sorry for being negative, people. I don't like this side of me, but I prefer to see it as constructive criticism. With Visions, none of it matters. None of it's canon, and why should I care?
Yeah, that's always been a big hang up for you. You're like, if it's not canon, why do I care? And I kind of can agree with that. But if it's a good storyline, who cares? You know?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I get it because I kind of feel the same way about all the EU books because I've got so many EU books. And then once they announce that it doesn't matter anymore, it's like, why do I want to read this? Or why do I want to invest this much time? I guess if I read more or was an easier reader, or could read faster, was a better reader, it would matter more to me. But it does kind of feel a letdown when you
Well,
realize you have all this stuff invested and it doesn't matter.
Visions is like a piece of gum. You put it in your mouth, it's good for 10 seconds, but after 2 minutes, you're chewing on it and you're like, why? There's no flavor here. What am I doing?
Right.
And so you spit it out.
And they may need to it may also suffer from binge watching because they release it all at once.
Maybe it needs to be like the Animatrix. I never saw it, but I do know that it's canon. Somebody came in and they started telling stories either before the Matrix or during the Matrix from a different point of view.
Hmm.
Even like do anime from a different point of view. Like we're in the middle of Revenge of the Sith, and in the Senate, this is happening. Or, well, I guess Palpatine and Yoda were fighting. But maybe it's a Order 66 Jedi or something like that. This happened in another part of the universe.
Hmm.
We just haven't seen it before now.
Yeah, we've also seen a lot of different views of I think we've seen like 4 or 5 different views of Order 66. But I mean, I think that's kind of a bit overdone, but to see it again from I have no problem with them, like you were saying, certain point of view. If they want to take those books and do a series on them,
Yeah.
like you said, it's to the right of the camera,
Mhm.
something happening to the right of the camera or just
Right.
off camera. Um, but yeah, it just I enjoy Vision. Some of it is just weird. I guess if you're into anime, people love it, but if you're
Yeah.
not into anime, it doesn't make sense.
It comes and goes, like I said, and it's more like a shrug, like, all right, I digested that.
Yeah.
Some of them are weird and bizarre, and it's like this doesn't feel like Star Wars. This just feels like another fantasy adventure,
Yes.
and they have the Force. Okay, great.
I mean, but then like they hit it's like they hit one or two, like the samurai, they did a samurai one and that one hit. They even made a book of it. And it's like if you could do more of that kind of stuff, or if okay, let's say they want to come back and now they're in season 3 of Visions. Let's go back to Samurai and redo, expand on that storyline. I think I'd be good with it. But where they're just like, oh, here's some stuff we're gonna throw, like you said, throw spaghetti on a wall and see what sticks. It's kind of stinks to do that. It's not fun when it's only 20 minutes and nothing's conducive or nothing sticks together. It's all they all stand separate.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying to me.
But if you enjoy it, if a person enjoys it, I don't want to take away any of their enjoyment.
Oh
But
no.
I just I just don't hear people talking about it. The merch was sitting at Target shelves for a long time, and then it was moved to Ross, and it's still sitting at Ross, and I don't know.
Yeah, because you can find the statues of the brother and sister sitting at Ross for like $10.
Yeah, with their mile-long lightsabers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't yeah, like you said, I don't want to poo-poo on anybody's enjoyment of Star Wars. If you enjoy it, great. I'm not a gatekeeper here. I want everybody to enjoy Star Wars. I don't care from where you enjoy it. That's your jam, you know. That's not our job. You know, that's not why we're here. We're just here to talk Star Wars and be like, hey, this is what we don't like about it. And if you like Visions and you're excited for it, and in a way I'm excited for it, but I'm not like it's sort of like Agatha all along with me. I'm like, the show's been sitting there for 2, 3 months and I haven't even gone look at it. And I'm like, I
Really
need to
good.
get to that, huh?
It's really good. It's like a classic Marvel. It doesn't have any stakes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a fun show.
And there again, I haven't seen it, but it's like, why can't Star Wars do something like that? Is it
Yeah.
because us fans would be pissed off at them?
I don't know. I don't know if the fandom is just evolved and old. I don't know if the news of the day has got people stressed out to the point where they're like, I can't focus on this, or when they do turn on Star Wars, they want a full escape. They don't want to focus on the topics of the day, which might be another reason why the Acolyte didn't do so well.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're stressed out and they want to turn off the news and turn on a show. And when they turn on the show, it's basically the news. And
Right.
um, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But Skeleton Crew is upcoming. I'm really excited about it because whenever they talk about this, they don't talk about the influence that Empire Strikes Back had on the directors. It's like Goonies. It's pirate adventures from the 40s and 30s. It's the stuff that they watched when they grew up. And that's exactly what George did with Star Wars. It was the Flash Gordon serials.
Right.
It wasn't another version of Star Wars that inspired him. It was other things. And I think that's part of the best Clone Wars is when other things inspired the Clone Wars, like the Zilla Beast. Zillo Beast?
Yeah, Zillopius is right.
Godzilla, Zillo. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, and I think something important, I don't think anybody realizes how close we were to be talking about Flash Gordon versus Luke Skywalker. Because that's what Lucas wanted to make was Flash Gordon and
yeah,
was told no. So then he invented Star Wars.
yeah, he went back. He went and did his own thing, which he revised 4 times.
And he's still revising.
Yeah, he doesn't stop. If Disney would let him, he'd still be changing things. McClunky.
It's like, come on.
But
Um, so
but
yeah,
yeah,
I totally agree. But yes, I don't know, take influences outside of Star Wars. Because go ahead. What's next, Jason?
no, we're still talking about Skeleton Crew because that's when this drops, it's what, a week and a day away or so.
Is it the third or
It's the
sixth?
third. And so I'm excited about it. It looks like a fun adventure. It looks like there's not much stake in the Star Wars universe, but it's lost in space. These kids want to go home. There's pirates, and I'm hoping at the end of the show, we'll see like a preview like they did with The Mandalorian season 1 when the end credit scene was Boba Fett taking the throne, and it just said
Ooh,
boom, Star Wars, a book of Boba Fett coming Christmas. And I'm hoping at the end of this, we'll get the same thing. Boom, Star Wars Pirates.
that would be fun.
Because
That's
that
what
was
I
a,
think. But I keep talking about dirty Star Wars. If they would do a pirate show, I think that would be incredible. Because then you could do a bunch of cameos. If you really wanted to, you could bring in people like Carson Teva, or you can bring in, like Hera, or you know what I mean? You could
Hondo.
Hondo. Oh my God, dude. If Hondo shows up in Skeleton Crew, I'm gonna lose it. But people are saying, I mean, it's there. People are like, they're serving you up a softball that Hondo's gonna show up in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. It would be good to see him again because we do know he lives through uh Rise of Skywalker
Yeah.
because he's in
So
Galaxy's
again,
Edge.
when is this? This is set where in the Star Wars universe? Where's the timeline? I keep
It's the
forgetting.
same time as the Mandalorian stuff.
Okay, cool. So it's really easy for them to throw Mandalorian stuff in there if they wanted to.
Yeah, or if they show up in the Mandalorian movie, they fly by or something. It's around the same time, so it's not out of.
No, it'd be really simple to have like Mandalorian show up in a bar or something. Could you imagine? They're sitting at a bar and they look over and Mandalorian's sitting right there.
That'd be awesome.
It would be a cool like nod, and they don't even have to acknowledge it. Just be like, oh, you know, it'd be fun. But no, I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew, and I hope I'm not putting too much pressure on that show. But that show is I think the linchpin.
Well, to add some pressure to it, John Watts directs episodes 1 and 8. John Watts, I heard from someone this week that he's a very professional director, proficient in directing and storytelling, and a great person to be around.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully that will add to the show itself and the atmosphere of it. And again, he directed Spider-Man, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. So I'm hoping that he brings that energy and that it's not a swing and a miss for him. He directs episodes 1 and 8. David Lowery directs episodes 2 and 3. He directed The Green Knight and Peter Pan and Wendy, which starred Jude Law as a pirate, as Captain Hook.
Nice.
The Daniels, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner direct episode 4. So I'm really looking forward to episode 4. They signed on before Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
They're the directors of that movie, and if you haven't seen that movie, it's incredible. It's a stellar movie. It's just wonderful sci-fi.
Cool. I've been meaning to watch it, but you just forget about stuff. There's so much that I think what my I'm gonna go on a tangent, but my wife and I will spend when I want to watch a 2 hour movie, and then you spend a half an hour trying to find something to watch
Yeah,
when you should have just watched a 2 hour movie.
right. Jake Shirer directs episode 5. I don't know the show Netflix's Beef. I don't know what that is, but I guess it's well acclaimed. And he's also directing Marvel's The Thunderbolts, which looks really good. I've seen the trailer for that.
Yeah.
And so hopefully he brings that energy to episode 5, or maybe because he's about the Thunderbolts and it's about a bunch of misfit villains in this Marvel universe, that maybe this is a pirate themed episode or something like that. Bryce Dallas Howard directs episode 7, excuse me, episode 6. It was rumored at one point she appears in the show itself. So she's a performer. She's a heavy hitter, I guess, for directing Disney Plus shows for Star Wars and Lucasfilm.
Uh-huh.
And give her a movie.
Yeah.
Every episode she directs has been great. Even mediocre seasons like Mandalorian season 3, which I still enjoyed, but I felt like her episode was the best.
She's I think a good all around performer and actor, and she's easy on the eyes. So I can't argue with Bryce Dallas Austin or Howard or whatever her name is. Bryce
Yeah,
Dallas. Is it
Bryce
Howard or
Dallas. Bryce
huh?
Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
I'm making sure that she didn't direct the Jack Black, and she directed episode 6. Which one was episode 6?
Oh, that was such a I I think that was a fun episode, but I think everybody was sort of like, because my wife throughout that whole episode was like, "Is that Lizzo? Wait a
Yeah.
minute, there's Jack Black. Oh my God, it's Doc Brown." And you're just like, I think they had too many cameos in that episode. It took you out of the experience.
She directed Guns for Hire, which I think is the CSI episode of season 3 of The
Which
Mandalorian, where the droids they're investigating the droids. You remember that one?
that's the same episode, isn't it?
Is it? Um,
I think that you're
yes, it
describing.
is. It is. Oh no, I take it back.
That was okay. So, like I said, the only problem with that episode is there was too many cameos in it. And if they would have done like one or two, it would have been fine. Or maybe, but I think they threw three really big names at us, and we were waiting for Doc. We were waiting for Doc Brown to be in Star Wars, and then he's in Star Wars, and it's a throwaway character.
Yeah.
So I think that was the issue with that episode. It wasn't. That's the only issue I have with that episode. Other than that, I thought it was a good episode. And then they bring the Mandalorians back together. So you can't.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, dude. Because yeah, never mind. You had that going on. Then you had Lizzo and Jack Black, and you had Doc Brown and it. Leonard. What's his name? What's his name? Leonard.
Leonard Skinnerd.
No. What's Doc Brown's name? Christopher
Oh,
Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd.
You had Christopher Lloyd in it, and then you had I want to say Sabine for some reason. You had Bo-Katan
Sabine
fight the
wasn't
dude
there.
for the Darksaber. You know, so it had a lot going on in that episode.
I don't know. I that was probably my least favorite episode because it's just a weird. It's
It
one of
was.
those Mandalorian, you want this? Well, go take this milk to someone. Okay, here's your milk. Okay, I've got your information for you. It felt like that. It felt like the Mando formula.
Mandalorian is becoming very predictable, or was becoming kind of predictable, because it was like, hey, you want this, go do this. Have you watched that show Doc Odyssey?
No. Yeah.
So, but long story short, that's becoming very. It's a story about a doctor on a cruise ship, and not only is it like you get in there and you're like, yeah, that's not a cruise ship, because it's very ornate and very big rooms, and it's totally wrong. But then they had somebody singing. It's getting very predictable, and like they had somebody singing "Hot to Go" on it, and then they were next to candles, and you're like, oh, they're gonna catch on fire, and as soon as you say it, they catch on fire. So that's sort of like what Mandalorian was becoming. You're like, wait a minute, this is about to happen, and it's just brainless TV,
What did
and that's what the Mandalorian was becoming. So
what did you
anyway,
think about episode chapter 19, The Convert, the episode of Mandalorian season 3 that basically people thought was Andor. It was about Dr. Pershing and Coruscant and how he gets betrayed and all that.
I kind of liked it. I don't mind those episodes. The only reason I don't I like that episode. I thought it was a good episode. It was sort of like because he was in Andor too, right? Or no? Or was it
No, he
just
wasn't in Andor, but I bring it up because Lee Isaac Chung directs the seventh episode of Skeleton Crew. He also directed that episode of the Mandalorian season 3. He also did Minari and Twisters, the sequel to Twister.
okay? Um, I didn't mind it. I don't mind those episodes where they take you off and they do like a one-off or a bottle episode. The only time I mind a bottle episode is when we only have 8 episodes. If we had like 10 or 15 episodes, I think that's where people get upset with the bottle episodes, because you're like, you only have a finite number of episodes and you're taking one away to go to see this guy or follow this guy for a minute.
Hmm.
Um, and I think if we would have had 10 or 15 episodes, or 10 or 12, even 12 episodes of season 3 of The Mandalorian, they would not be as upset with that episode. And I think those episodes suffer because we're like, crap, here we go. We want to follow The Mandalorian and we have to follow Dr. Pershing. And I don't want to follow Dr. Pershing. I want to follow The Mandalorian.
So would you rather have like a season of just Mandoverse shows, like one episode, eight episodes, but each episode is a different story told in the Mandalorian universe?
If they did it right, I don't think I would mind it, but it would have to be, it'd have to flow. It would have to flow together. But I see you roll your eyes. I'm trying to be a little bit positive. I don't mind. You see, because I'm also throwing back to like X-Files, which, you had 8 episodes that were, or whatever. I don't remember back in the day how long but you had episodes that stood together, that stood apart, and then you had episodes that had a storyline flowing through them. And that storyline may have been over 3 or 4 seasons. And that kind of always brought me back to the X-Files when they would do that kind of stuff, where you would realize, okay, these are standalone episodes. Then all of a sudden you have an episode where you really had to be an X-Files nerd to get.
Yeah, now I got Hot to Go stuck in my head. Thank you.
HOTTOGO.
HOTTOGO. Now you have it too, listener.
You can take me hot to go.
No, I won't do that. But yeah, so that's the director list. I'm hoping that it lands well. I hope it's well received, and I hope it recharges, even if we have a dead battery when it comes to fandom in Star Wars, even if this gives it quarter charge, hopefully I mean, that's progress.
I think they've aimed it to the right audience because, like I said, my wife's excited about Skeleton Crew. So I think if you can do that, if you can bring new people into Star Wars, that's what Star Wars needs. And people don't gatekeep them. Let them enjoy Star Wars, man. Let them, if they, who's this guy with the lightsaber? Let them enjoy the Star Wars, man.
Hmm. Small controversial change in canon. In the 2016 novel Ahsoka by E.K. Johnson, it takes place after season 6 of the Clone Wars. Ahsoka is hiding out and has cut herself off from the Force until she eventually needs to use it, which causes an Inquisitor to kind of raise an eyebrow and come looking for her. She fights this Inquisitor and defeats him, and the Inquisitor's name is the Sixth Brother.
Uh-huh.
However, in Tales of the Jedi, it essentially tells the same story, where she's forced to use the Force, and Inquisitor comes to chase her, and Lucasfilm has named that Inquisitor the Fifth Brother. So both novels are considered canon. Did the exact same incident happen twice, where she fought the fifth brother and killed him, and then fought the sixth brother and killed him? It doesn't matter. But it's like what Van Halen did. They in their rider they asked for green M&Ms only. They only asked for a big bowl of green M&Ms. And the reason they did that wasn't because they're insane. It was because they had so much stuff going on in their stage performance and stage show that they wanted to make sure people were paying attention to the details. So if they walked into their dressing room and they didn't see the green M&Ms, then they can start worrying about things like the pyro. Is that really connected right? Did they do it right? Did we have to do an audit on our stage right now because they're not paying attention to the details? And that makes me, I say all that, and I know this is not life and death like it would be for a stage show, with pyro in the background and fire and stuff. But Lucasfilm needs to pay attention to the details. It's like care. This just shows that you don't care enough.
Right. Because there was even griping because in that I mean, no, I'm going to get the details wrong, but she did something with her lightsabers. Like at the end of the Ahsoka novel, she buried her lightsabers or something, and then she has them when she shows back up
Yeah.
in the show and in the cartoon or something. And it's little things like that yes, and that's why they got rid of the EU because it was just too much to keep up with, which sucks, but I understand why they did it. So it's
Well,
like,
they got rid of the EU because it would not gel with the modern canon.
okay,
Because Heir to the Empire doesn't take place in modern canon
yes.
as we know it.
But I still think they should have. Heir to the Empire should have been the prequel series, or whatever
The
not the
sequel
prequel
trilogy.
trilogy should have been Heir
Yeah,
to the
but Luke
Empire.
Skywalker's so old now, you can't really do that.
Recast him. Did I say that out loud?
You said that too loud.
They
But that's all the news.
did it in Star Trek. We could do it in Star Wars. It'll be okay.
They That's all the news that I had. A lot of complaining, and I do apologize. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful that Star Wars is still in my life.
Right. No, I'm very thankful that uh we're not really weird not single nerds, but doing Star Wars on our own anymore. Our fandom.
Yeah. Um, yeah, true.
Do you want to talk about the elephant in the room before we sign off?
What's the elephant?
The Disney news.
We could talk about that the Muppet in the back.
The Muppet Vision versus make it to, because it does include Star Wars because it's going in between. I lost the train at the Star Tours and Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, so Disney this week announced that I was wrong, that the reason Disney was telling people behind Animation Courtyard there's a building there with office space, and there's a reason why people were being asked to move. It wasn't because the building was being demolished, it's because Imagineering's moving in so they can manage the demolition of, well, it's not going to be a full demolition of the Muppet Courtyard. and it'll turn into Monsters Inc. They just better be careful because I don't want to see the factory, the Monsters Inc. factory from Galaxy's Edge.
I think they'll do a good job of hiding that. Or do you want to? Because I mean, the roller coaster is going to be right there. So I was thinking, it's like, are you going to see the roller coaster? If you're on the roller coaster, will you be able to peer into Galaxy's Edge? But
The roller
it,
coaster's indoors, so hopefully it's
oh,
not going to be an issue.
okay. So
It's
it's an
gonna be an indoor
indoor.
coaster, yeah, because there's a lot of like you'll see the doors moving from Monsters Inc. It's the end of that movie.
Okay,
And you probably see Sully, Boo, and Mike Wazowski sliding through at some point. You're like with them as they do that ending thing.
that'd be
But
fun.
yeah, uh,
I've seen stuff from, I guess maybe they do a Monsters Inc. ride in Tokyo, and there's some stuff that's going on that that's pretty impressive. Um, but yeah, no, okay. So anyway, we're not talking about Monsters Inc. We're talking about the fact that we're losing the Muppet Theater, Muppet Vision 3D or 4D
um,
or whatever.
it's that, but it's also that's Jim Henson's last project before he died. It's the last time he voiced Kermit the Frog. It was the last time the original crew was together. That film has a lot of meaning for Muppet fans because it's special. It's the last. I mean, you're going to Disney, you're spending a lot of money, and you want to experience the sentimental value or the sentimental feelings.
Yeah.
And I think there is some sentimental value with that movie, and Disney's just gonna delete it and wipe it away. And they're gonna move the Muppets, yeah, but the current voice of Kermit the Frog sounds horrible in my opinion. And it's Dr. Teeth. Hey man, it's Dr. Teeth. It's not even Kermit. I mean, Kermit and Miss Piggy and sure and Gonzo and Fozzie Bear will all appear, but Dr. Teeth and Janice and what's his name? Floyd. They all are going to their show. It's just instead of Aerosmith now, it's Dr. Teeth
Yeah.
on the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah. I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick on Muppet Visions 3D. And yeah, I understand where you're coming from. And I
You're putting
totally
a
get it.
target on your face.
I totally am putting a target on my
You're
back,
playing with
but
fire right now.
I am. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It was a walk on all the time, though, wasn't it? The only reason you had to wait was for the show to end so you can walk in.
What
Pretty
does that have to
much.
do with anything?
If it's not eating people, if people aren't going to it, they're going to get rid of it.
Well, when I was there last time, it was a full theater.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a 20-minute show, so it's not like you have to wait outside to get into it. It's a 20-minute queue. You get in and it got full, that whole room, the pre-show, and then you move into the theater and it was full. So
Okay.
I don't think that's fair.
I'm just asking because I haven't been to it, and I guess maybe because I'm on a mission to go to all the Star Wars stuff. But I haven't been to Muppet Vision 3D in probably the last 2 or 3 times I've been to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah,
So
just
that would be my only. And you also see pictures. Somebody posted a picture of an empty theater. So it's like, is it running to an empty theater, or is it this? I mean, if it was something people are using, then yeah, why get rid of it? But if people aren't going, then
well, I mean that's not fair because was that photo taken first thing in the morning
right.
when everybody's going to Toy Story or Galaxy's Edge? Like in the afternoon, that's a full theater. It's a people eater. It's a great place to sit down and enjoy the air conditioning. Obviously, I'm not happy. So there's nothing you can say that'll convince me otherwise that this is a great decision to move out the Muppets and the Muppet Vision 3D and hopefully Disney does something to preserve it. Like throw it on Disney Plus. Give us that opportunity to continue watching it because
Mm,
I don't think Disney would do the same thing with Walt
right.
that they're doing to Jim Henson.
I mean, they're even
Everyone,
doing a animatronic Walt in Disneyland. So
yeah, and like if Disney had his last project that he worked on, like everybody says that about the Country Bears. You can't get rid of the Country Bears because that's Walt's last laugh. Because he was in
but
the building and he saw someone drawing the Country Bears and he kind of laughed and then he walked out and he died a couple days later. So a lot of people think the Country Bears are holy because it was Walt's last laugh.
is Country Bear still in Disneyland?
Yeah, they just rethemed it. So instead of singing the country songs that they sing Disney songs now.
Right. Well, when we saw it, we went in 2019, and it was one of those where, hey, we got time, let's go see Country Bears. And when we walked out, it was like my wife was like, I can't believe they're still singing those songs.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I can see it
100%.
why they rethemed Country Bear. So yeah, but they rethemed it. I mean, even though, and I don't think they're for I saw a TikTok where they don't think they're getting rid of the theater. They're just going to retheme it.
Yeah.
So what are they going to use it for?
Well, I heard it's not Laugh Factory because that's got to stay at Tomorrowland. They can't lose another spot. There's nothing that's gone into where Alien Encounter and Stitch's Great Escape is. That's still empty. And it's
Uh-huh.
empty because in order to do anything, they need to get rid of all of the asbestos.
Right.
In order to get rid of the asbestos, they need to start to close down the Starlight Diner, which is the same building, which would just cause chaos when it comes to lunchtime.
Yeah.
To have a restaurant down, especially a big one like that.
Yeah, and it's not that good of a restaurant, but
But
it is a people eater.
but long story short, they can't move that, so it'd have to be some sort of new show in that area because they're not going to get rid of the theater. They're just going to retheme and reskin all of the buildings there, and then add the Monsters Inc. factory in the back.
Yeah. I am excited about Rock and Roller Coaster though, because uh I think it's a pretty decent trade-off
Yeah,
because you're gonna I forcefully introduce people to the Muppets because they're gonna want to ride the ride. And people will be like, they're gonna be forced to, instead of, oh, I don't want to go see Muppet Vision 3D. It's like I want to go ride this roller coaster that the Muppets are that these characters are on that I don't know. And then all of a sudden they're gonna be like, who are these guys?
I would expect the retheme to be expedited. Like you're just going to change the wooden or metal cutouts in the coaster itself. You're going to change the video. So you
Yeah.
just got to film the video. A lot of the posters that are hanging are digital, so you can easily swap those out. It shouldn't be a long, drawn out refurb, in my opinion, but who knows?
Didn't they just shut it down for like a year, didn't they? Or 6 months or so?
Yeah, the story is that there was a brake issue. So Disney at one point decided to save money,
Uh-huh.
and right at the end of the ride, there's a brake system.
Right?
But because they went with the cheap brakes, it kept breaking down and it kept tripping the sensors, which would cause it to shut the whole ride down and have to evacuate people. And so it just goes to show sometimes it doesn't help to cut corners. And so they had to shut the whole thing down and refurb it back to the original brand of brakes, allegedly. This is the story that I heard. And so it's working back and it's more reliant now.
I mean, they could have just as easily done all the background work to where it's as simple as closing it for a week, and next thing you know, it's boom, it's open as Muppet Vision or
Yeah.
the Muppets in there. And it's something I've been thinking about this. They could very easily do a Guardians of the Galaxy ish theming on that to where it's a different song every time you go. So then
Yeah.
it gets people to ride it multiple times. And you know what? Because yeah, you're right. They could do the same thing that Aerosmith did and just retheme it, and it'd be a great ride. Because Aerosmith is dated.
It's dated, and Steve Tyler basically came out and said that he did bad things to young teens.
Oh,
And but beside that, the one in Paris, the roller coaster they had there has been rethemed to Iron Man, and
yeah.
then the Tower of Terror in uh Disneyland has been changed into Mission Breakout, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. So that could very easily become a Marvel area at some point if Universal drops that license, which I don't think they're going to do that.
No,
They're kind of holding their competitor up against the wall and saying, "We're in control now. I'm the captain now."
I'm the captain now. But
And
then if
why
they
would
want
you
to
give
change,
that up?
right? But if they want to change anything in Marvel Land at Universal, they have to get Disney's approval.
Yeah, they're at a standoff. Disney's not going to approve anything, and Marvel's or Universal's not going to give anything up.
Yeah,
So we're
because
stuck with Dr. Teeth. And what is it, the it's not the is it Mystic Mayhem? What is it? The Electric Mayhem. Sorry,
Electric
jeez.
Mayhem. You're
Brain
supposed to
fart.
be
Brain fart.
a Muppets fan, dude.
I do. I still have my childhood Kermit the Frog downstairs.
And I enjoyed that. And then there again, the last show they did with the Electric Mayhem, I thought that was a fun show.
Hmm.
And it
And that,
didn't they cancel it?
yeah, but it was popular with Muppet fans, and I think that's probably the reason why they leaned in with Dr. Teeth,
Mhm.
who was inspired by Dr. John, which is a staple of that state that you're from,
Right.
right?
Yes, he is.
Did I get that right, Dr. John?
Yes. But no, I'm looking forward to it. That Rock and Roller Coaster definitely did need something. And if I think it'll breathe new life into that coaster. I don't really want them touching Tower of Terror, but I can understand, they've had not issues with the theming of it, but who goes in there, what's the Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
So
I
I
have
mean,
been,
go ahead.
no, I was going to change the subject
Yes, go for it.
because you like chaos. I have been working on, because I've been working on a book project here, and in between things, I've been checking my sanity by working on a Star Wars project.
Uh-huh.
This is completely unsanctioned, and I might not do anything with it other than just make like an outline. But did you ever see The Ballad of Buster Scruggs? It's a Coen Brothers movie on Netflix. It's like 6 vignettes, short films that take place in the Wild West. It's pretty good if you like the Coen Brothers.
Okay. No, I haven't, but I guess I'll need to watch it.
It's like Visions, but in the Old West and by masterful filmmakers. And each episode's like, 20 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And so I was doing the same thing, but it was all with the Cantina aliens.
Well, that'd be fun.
Yeah. And the one I really think I knocked out of the park, and people will say no, is Dr. Cornelius Ezevon and Ponda Baba. Um, that short. I just have like a written, and I'll do this at some point. I'm just teasing right now. But if they were gonna make like a movie of this, I wanted Bryan Cranston to be Dr. Cornelius Ezevon
Who's Bryan Cranston? I know the name's familiar.
from Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh,
Bryan
yes.
Cranston.
Say my name.
Him.
Yeah, he would be
I
good.
don't like you.
What would be funny is when you did it is in your story, if you had him say that like 5 times, that'd be like his tagline, or everybody that would right next to him, that would be the way he like introduces himself to people. I don't like you.
Well, part of what I did here was that he learns that he's on Jeddah and he
Uh-huh.
just got his 11th death sentence in the Jeddah system. And then they go
Uh-huh.
back to the ship because they got to evacuate because of the Imperial pullout of Jeddah. They're like, something's up, we got to go.
Uh-huh.
And it comes across the news that there's a 12th death sentence on Tatooine. And so he's like, if there's a 12th death sentence, then it's going to be something I earn, not something that's just issued to me. So that's why they go to Tatooine. And that's part of the reason why he goes to Kenobi and brags is because that's his thing. Like, I have 12 death sentences. And he just finished it. He just finished killing someone and he gets the 12th death sentence.
That sounds awesome though.
And Ponda Baba would be there to bail him out every single time. So the implication is when Kenobi cuts off Ponda Baba's hand or
Mhm.
arm, there's no one to protect Dr. Ezevon anymore. Like he's screwed
Right.
because he can't perform. Walrus Man can't perform anymore.
Man, that sounds awesome.
So I'm working on that, and I've got one for the Tonica sisters, and I'm trying to make Greedo work. The challenge is when you write something like this, like it's got to be related to the cantina, but we've all seen that stuff. So
Right.
how much stuff does would people want to see outside of the cantina?
I don't know.
Because
I go ahead.
I started with Greedo in Jabba's palace, and a lot of this stuff happens in Jabba's palace, and then he winds up in the cantina.
I think that's what you need to do is they wind up in the cantina, or they were at the cantina and they leave. Or, oh my God, this old man just cut off this walrus man's arm. And
Yeah. Oh no, here are some stormtroopers asking me questions.
right,
Hey, have you seen this guy
right. I got a GTFO.
right now?
No,
You're talking as a character.
it's a character. It's time to go. People, stormtroopers are here.
GTTTOGO. We're hip. We're young.
Yes.
We know about Chapel Roan. Although I like to tease my kids and say Chappelle Roan.
Yes, it is. It's like, what?
No, it's not Chappelle. It's Chapel. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy
Thanksgiving, yes.
Stay positive.
Exactly. Enjoy some
Uh,
football in Turkey.
I got my prostate checked this week, so you should too. We'll end it that way. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. It really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback. We love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Afonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. And thank you to the Levi Waterhouse for the music. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. If you can't find turkey, use a porg. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.